Welcome back, everyone, to the Rooted Lifestyle Podcast. We are your hosts, Camryn and Justus Woods.
Hey, guys. Welcome back. We're sorry that we missed the last week, but we've been traveling a lot, which we'll get into a little bit later, but we're happy to be back this week, so get excited for this episode.
Yes, we have another great episode for you guys this week, and as Camryn has mentioned, we have been very busy from Camryn going to the lake with her friends, me doing a 50-miler, going to Charleston with some high school friends, and then to a wedding. So, we've been very, very busy over the last month or so.
Yes, 100%. And I know Justus just skipped over a 50-miler. You're probably like, what in the world is that? But we'll talk about it later. But yeah, these last few weeks have been so much fun. I've been able to see my college friends, some of my high school friends, which is awesome. Same with you. You're seeing your college friends soon. And then we saw some high school friends in Charleston. But it's so important to spend time with friends that you have from like different seasons of life. And so we're blessed enough to be able to have the money to fly to them and go to places like Lake Martin, Alabama and Charleston, South Carolina.
Blessed to be able to go to Lake Martin, Alabama.
Hey, Lake Martin is a great lake.
There you go.
It is a great lake.
I'm sure it is.
You've been there.
I have. It's a great lake. That's what I'm saying.
Hop off.
But we're glad to be back into our routine,
Yes.
back with another episode. And
Yes.
speaking of that, our topic today will be covering how and why we do hard things. And this is kind of a generic phrase to a broader sense of questions that we've been asked, I feel like, a lot over the last few weeks of, why do you work so much? Why do you eat the way that you do? Why do you do these like races? Why do you go to the Grand Canyon? Like all that stuff. Oh my gosh.
Wait, this reminds me. I'm not even joking. I forgot to tell you this when I got home from work. So today, one of my friends, Gracie, she's friends with the guy that works where you work. And he was with her one weekend recently. And he was like, Justus Woods. And she was like, yeah, I don't know him, but I know Camryn really well, whatever. Yeah. And he was like, dude, does he still work at your company? Because I don't know how he has time to do anything that he's doing. And so it's funny that you just said that because I was like, whoa, I forgot. And Gracie was like, literally, how does he do it? And I was like, oh, he doesn't sleep. But you make it work because it's a priority.
I do,
which is really cool.
When I can sleep, I do. We went to bed at 9:30 last night. I woke up at 5, but we went to bed at like 9:30 or 10.
Given the week when we were in Charleston, we didn't go to bed like at all. So we're trying to hang with our friends really late.
We always say it's a balance and stuff.
It is. Life's a balance.
That's actually really funny.
I know. I was like, I have to tell Justus.
I do get asked that a lot because obviously, like, I'm a consultant and those hours are very, very long. But but people always ask, like, do you still have a job? Or people who work with me are like, do you still work here? People who don't work with me and don't know like what I do on the day to day, they're like, do you still have a job? Because like you're always posting, you're always doing these things, and I'm like, I literally do all that stuff before 7 a.m.
I was going to say, if you don't follow Justus on Instagram or TikTok, you should definitely follow him because he's been so active, Mr. Content King.
Just trying to mimic after my wife.
Oh, thanks, babe. But I think that people see that and they're like, literally, when is he filming this stuff? And it's before 7 a.m. or after like 7 p.m. maybe on a rare occasion. But anyways, back to the topic of discussion, why and how we do hard things. So there's a threshold for what hard means for each person. So like for me, something that's hard could be different than for Justus. Like I think we both think that like diets are pretty hard. Getting out of bad habits are really hard, but it's really cool to just push each other and kind of see where we can get once we truly decide to go all in to do a really hard thing. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. The first hard thing that I had no participation in, I was at the lake with my friends enjoying my weekend. Justus ran/walked 50 miles on the Katy Trail with like minimal breaks. He ate only one time, like a meal. Sometimes he was wearing a weighted
didn't train
vest.
for it before, because usually that's like an ultra marathon and you usually train for that for like months. But
that just like, oh my gosh, that's like way more than a marathon. I didn't even register.
It's double a marathon.
Jeez. Okay. Well, let's hear all about your 50-miler. Like, what was it for? How did it go?
Yeah.
Give us the background.
I will caveat with saying this. My friend Bronson and I have a running joke that when my friend Bronson, he's the one I usually do this stuff with.
And he's married.
He's married as well. And we have this running joke that whenever our wives go out of town, one of them, we have to do something like extremely hard, even though we don't want to do it.
For the Grand Canyon.
Because the first time his wife went to the Bahamas, and then you had gone, where did you go?
Auburn.
You had gone to Auburn.
Yeah.
So that's the week that we hiked the Grand Canyon. And then this week when Camryn, or the past Memorial Day when Camryn went to Lake Martin, that is when we did the 50 miler.
It's ridiculous.
So for context, it was called Carry the Load, which is a nonprofit organization. I think it's all over the country, but they have a special program in Dallas where it's a 24-hour run, walk, or ruck. So ruck is like when you have like either like a backpack or like you're carrying something like a weighted vest or something. And it was on the Katy Trail, which is a trail literally right behind our apartment that goes about 5 miles down to downtown. So it's about 7 miles in the total loop. But essentially this Carry the Load event was to honor all of the military and first responders who had lost their lives and sacrificed for our country. So I'll say that it was like a great event overall, just because usually, you know, Memorial Day, like I'm at the pool, I'm at the lake or something. So it was cool to be a part of
like the real
an event
reason,
and a real reason to like to remember the real reason. And you know, the Katy Trail had all of these pictures and like description setup of everyone who had lost their lives, and they had a full setup, and people's families were there. Like it was actually insane. There were actually firefighters like walking with like full gear, like gas mask on, like pulling oxygen tanks and everything. So it was a full all out event for like 24 hours. But in terms of 50 miles, Bronson and I had talked about what we wanted to get done, because to caveat as well, this man was also doing a 100K the week after, and he just randomly said, hey, do you want to run
2 weeks after
or 10 days after or something?
Was it really that short? Just like 2 weekends?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
It was like 10 days.
Yeah, these guys
it was
are
only
crazy.
it was only one weekend after. The next weekend was when he would run.
Okay.
But yeah, and he was like, do you want to run this with me? And this was like a couple weeks before Memorial Day. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. So when it got close to it, we were just like, let's decide on a mileage to get to. So we both randomly just said 50 for some reason. And we felt like we were stuck to do 50.
You're crazy.
So we said we were either going to do 50 miles or 24 hours, whatever came first.
Okay.
And the 50 miles came first. We were able to finish it in 16 hours or less than 16 hours.
Yeah. So Justus like started at 4:30 in the morning, and then I got a full night of sleep. And then when I woke up, he finished. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But
it's crazy because it's crazy too, because I didn't train for the thing at all. The most I'd ever run, I mean, the most I'd walked at that point was like going to the Grand Canyon. Obviously that was like 25, 30 miles of like going up and down elevation, but still 50 miles, like double that. That's like a lot.
And like the trail is boring and it's just a straight shot and all that stuff. But it's really cool to just put the perspective of why you're doing it instead of just like ruining your body. Basically, you're doing it actually for a purpose. But tell me more, and everyone else, about what was the most challenging part, and like physically, mentally, what was it like?
I think the most challenging part was one that when we started, so we started on Sunday at 4 p.m.
4:30, yeah.
4:30 p.m. and it was 100 degrees with a UV of 10. So I was like, I was dying. And they had this whole beginning ceremony and stuff, which was great. But we were standing there for an hour, and I was like, I just need to get going. Like I need to start running. So we started running, and I think like the hardest part about it was the scenery never changed. Like I said before, it's like about like a full loop. It's not even a circle. Like the Katy Trail is just a line that you go up and down that goes to downtown. So like going all the way down to one end and back to the other is 7 miles. So we did that 7 times. So I think just seeing the same thing like over and over and over again, all throughout the night, like from 4, like when it was 4:30 p.m., then it was like 10 p.m., then it was like midnight, then it was 1 a.m. And we had a couple of people like run with us in the beginning, but then it just people slowly started tapering off, and then it was just me and Bronson running the whole night. So I think it was just the tiredness, the fatigue of like seeing the same thing, and the fact that our house was literally right here. I was like, I could easily just go and sleep right now. But
we had True Fruit in our freezer, and that if you don't know,
so
that
good.
is, oh my gosh, I can't even talk about it right now. It's the chocolate covered strawberries that are frozen, and I'm salivating for one right now. But Justus and Bronson did not escape to our home to cheat or anything like that. They stayed on the trail the whole time. They had like a little pit stop area with a truck and
it was actually a really cool setup. They had converted a garage, an underneath garage, to they had tents, they had a food station, like they were grilling burgers and stuff. So it was like a cool event really. And Bronson had brought his truck. We had filled it up with a bunch of like chairs, water, food and stuff. So we'd every 7 miles we'd come back and like refuel for like 5 to 10 minutes and then go back out. But
that's insane. So overall, yes, for Memorial Day and honoring those who lost their lives, why did you actually do this? Because everyone that I tell that you did a 50 miler, they're like, is he okay? Yeah. Is he like going through something? Like, why would you ever choose to do this? My mom doesn't get it either. She's like, check on your husband. I don't think he's well.
Yeah. No, I think like doing hard things is good for you. And I mean, that's like what the conversation that we're talking about right now is, and to the extent of safety, obviously, but I am a firm believer that, you know, you develop, you have the biggest, you can push your body more than what you think you can,
right.
is basically what I'm trying to say, is that, you know, there's a point where too, it gets a little bit dangerous, but like most people try to stop at the point where they feel comfortable. And I think, you know, recently I've been trying to challenge myself to do things like I never thought I'd be running. I never thought I'd be doing these diets and stuff that you've like showed me about.
Yeah.
But it's like, the more I do them, the more I realize that I can do it. My mind and body has given me the ability to do it. And it's like, why not do it? And I think the second reason for that is like, I'm also a very firm believer that you can develop your deepest relationships when you're going through something with someone. So luckily for us, we have a great group of friends that love to do this type of stuff. And I feel like it's crazy because we just met these people like 5 months ago, but everything that I've been through with them, I feel like I've known them for years. And I attribute that to like the way that we train really hard. The way that we, you know, go to the Grand Canyon running 50 miles. Cause it's like, you're in these deep, hard things with these people, and then you're starting to develop and strengthen your relationships. And then going again, what I said for the third point of like pushing your body more than you think you can, as well as your mind. And then also, it's just really awesome to like see the results. Like I remember I was at mile 45. And my phone was dead, my AirPods were dead, and my Apple Watch was dead. My foot was killing me. I thought at that point I had a stress fracture in my foot. Bronson was like up ahead of me. I couldn't really see him. It was like morning. It was like 7 a.m. I had 5 miles left. And I was like, I could easily just stop right now and be done with it.
Right.
But it's like, I've gone this far, so I might as well finish it out. So like now being done with the 50 miles, I was like, I completed 50 miles, which is like a cool thing to be able to say.
No, 100%. I think that's a really cool, incredible accomplishment that I will probably never
we'll get Camryn on the train eventually. We've been trying to.
See, this is also the difference between us. So like, I would love to do a super hard workout circuit type of thing, but I also know myself, and like my bones are just weaker than your bones, in a sense of like, you take a lot of supplements and eat a lot of protein and things that build your bones.
Well, that's when like durability, like the more that you do those things, the more durable you become. That's why you, I mean, like obviously this is probably not the smartest idea to not train. That's why you train for something like this.
Correct. But like my version of a hard thing right now would be like a half marathon.
Yeah.
When your version of a hard thing was a literal 50 miler, and I don't know yours, you're insane. But I think it's really cool, and I'm very proud of you for doing it. Very, very proud. But it's really cool because we can actually back this up with science, because Andrew Huberman talks a lot about how doing hard things releases this one cortex in your brain, and it allows for expansion and growth and development in that single cortex, which is really cool. So actually doing hard things that you're just like, oh, I don't want to do that right now. If you actually do it, it's growing your brain. It's growing longevity. It's allowing you to probably live longer. I mean, it's just really, really cool. So and I think it's, I know he had talked about a little bit more too about how there's like studies that connect that part of that part of your brain. The growth of that particular part has been linked directly with people who experience longevity of life. So in a sense, yes, that like doing hard things can provide or can increase your longevity. Yeah. And he was explaining it in the sense of, for Justus, the hard thing was the 50 miler, but for someone else, the thing that they don't want to do is make their bed. Like they really just don't want to do it, or they really don't want to go on a walk, or they really don't want to go to the gym. But once you push yourself past that little threshold of like, wow, I actually did that, you're actually enhancing that part of your brain, which is really cool. So you can definitely do things that you don't want to do. And yes, it's easier said than done, but there's a great reward after you do it.
Yeah. And I mean, like Camryn had said, hard things look different for everyone. So what's easy for some is harder for others, and vice versa. And it doesn't have to look the same. And it doesn't even have to be just exercise. I mean, Camryn and I, we challenge ourselves to do hard things in other ways as well. And that's kind of the second part of what we're going to be talking about in this conversation today, about doing hard things.
Yes. So one thing that Justus and I do every single year is the Whole30, or we're going to start doing that. We did it this year, and it's very hard. It is a 30-day diet, elimination diet, which is really cool. We saw the benefits. We didn't see the benefits until like 4 weeks in, which is insane. Just like mentally, physically, endurance wise, we didn't really see those benefits until later. But what we're currently doing that we started, we're on day 2?
Day 2, yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh, it feels like it's been a week. So Justus truthfully is sticking to this. I'm like half in, half out, just because I don't know if I can do it with like my job being a fitness instructor. But what we are doing is the animal-based diet. So basically, it is consisting of high quality meat. So we bought all of the organic steaks, beef, lamb, chicken, turkey, bison. What else? What other meat did we buy?
That's pretty much it.
Oh, salmon. We're going to get salmon later.
Yeah.
Some people do organs. We're not doing organs.
Yeah, I may get there one day, but I just have like a mental block of like eating liver and all this other stuff. I mean, they apparently though they're very like eating organs have a lot of high nutrients and stuff like that. But I do believe it, but
that's disgusting.
I just don't want to do that.
But the good thing about it, so you're not just eating meat, is you can have fruit, honey, and raw dairy along with eggs, which is really cool. So you get a lot of carbohydrates from the fruit, which is great. But I'm being careful with that because I definitely have like a sugar addiction. So I'm trying not to eat fruit like all day, every day. So that's kind of where I'm like weaning on and off. And I'll eat some vegetables here and there, like potatoes or something. But we are doing this hard thing. This is like a diet that we've never done before. And like people say that it's good for balancing hormones. It is improving your sleep. It's improving energy. So I'm just excited to see what it does for the both of us. I think that it's going to be great. I think it's a fun little challenge, but it is definitely hard. Like right before we recorded this, I looked at Justus and I was like, I am so hungry. And that's definitely not the goal, is to like be in a fasted state at all. It's like, okay, no, I need, like after this, I'm going to go eat more fruit and probably like a turkey stick.
Or like drink bone broth. Or like,
yes, I need to do that too.
So we're not doing it like you shouldn't, for any diet, you shouldn't be starving yourself. No. And obviously there's a proper way with proper boundaries to be able to do it. And I feel like, we've had experience doing diets before.
Yeah. But this one is definitely different and definitely hard.
Yeah.
A lot more prep goes into it. A lot more money goes into it.
Yeah.
Because just real meat is expensive.
No, that's like so
organic
true.
And grass-fed.
Because a lot of people who do this diet don't necessarily care about the type of meat too as well that they do. Obviously for monetary reasons as well, but fortunately, we try to prioritize, eating organic, like grass-fed, like
I tell people sometimes how much we spend on food and they're like, literally, what are you doing?
Also, it's just the sheer amount of volume. Like I eat a lot of food.
And you have to. When you're primarily eating meat, like you need to eat the whole pack of chicken.
Exactly.
By yourself.
Exactly.
So this is hard, but it's fun.
But I had seen the animal-based diet online for a while now and decided to do some research on it. One of the biggest proponents or advocates for it is Dr. Paul Saladino, who, he gives, like, he does the TikToks, he does podcasts, and he's a real advocate for this diet.
Does he live this way?
Yeah, he lives in Costa Rica. He
you've shown me him.
He lives in Costa Rica. He gets all of his stuff from like farmers markets, like
legit true places,
like actual fruit, like legit places. Like he actually does like red light. He has this thing in his house that turns everything to red light and like at a certain point of the day.
Wow.
He's all about functional training and stuff like that. So he's very much on the health train. And researching the diet, there's been like countless stories of people being healed from like autoimmune diseases, eczema, asthma, and from using this diet. And I think it's just, we're curious to see how eating this way will affect us. Cause I mean, we've done the Whole30. You've seen the effects of the Whole30 and how we eat on your eczema.
I was about to say, I got rid of my eczema. I still haven't had any flare ups since we did the Whole30.
And I will say, ever since the last few months when we've started to eat, like, like we typically on our lifestyle, we do like a whole foods diet.
Right.
And I think eating that has actually helped me with my asthma. And for those of you who don't know, I've had asthma my whole life. Like it was really, really bad when I was younger. I had to go to the emergency room a lot. And even now, like I have a maintenance inhaler that I would have to take during every like spring or summer season, just because that's when my allergies and my asthma is the worst. But recently, ever since being on this diet, honestly, like it has not been that bad. And I'm not saying it's like a 1-to-1.
It's only been 2 days.
Not this diet, but I'm saying like the whole foods diet.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, I blacked out for a second. I was like, it's
no, I'm not saying, no.
Wait, but not me attributing my scary dream last night to this diet. I'm like, oh my gosh, I had a horrible dream last night. It's because I'm eating healthy.
Yeah,
that happened to me on the Whole30.
You need to have sugar in order to have good dreams.
It literally happened to me on the Whole30 days, I swear. But yes, I think that that's really cool. Like you said, eating Whole30 and everything helped my eczema. It's helping with your asthma. So it's going to be fascinating to see how intense of a diet this is and like how that can kind of change things. But I'm hopeful. Hopefully it'll keep my eczema away from me, and it'll be interesting. I need to do some more research, but Justus has done a lot, so I trust that. But yeah, it's exciting, but it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, and I mean, overall diets are just tough in general, and you know they don't really get any easier. I feel like, and I feel like we've done these diets and stuff before, but it's the first couple of days are always the hardest.
Yeah, your body's like detoxing from all the crap you put in all the time.
Exactly, because like we were just on vacation, we were drinking, we were
eating sugar every day, eating out, so many carbs every day.
Exactly. So it's a big switch, and it's always a hard thing to do. But if you guys have been following us, you know that we're not all about like maintaining diets. We're about maintaining your lifestyle, because with diets and really restricting yourselves for a very long period of time, it can, one, be dangerous. Two, you can have a bad association with food, and then three, you're probably not going to stick to it.
No, it's not healthy, and like that's why we're only doing this for 2, maybe 3 weeks, and we're doing it just to see what it's going to do for our body. We think it's a fun. We like to do hard things, and it's just like a challenge that we can do together, which is really cool.
Yep, exactly.
We're trying to get our friends to do it. I don't know how it's working out.
It's going to work out. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the guys are the ones who wanted to do this anyway. So.
Come on, girlies.
Yeah. But overall, I think, recapping with like all the exercise, like the Grand Canyon, the 50 miler, like doing these diets, and we're not saying these things to make us seem like, we're better than everybody else. I think
heck no.
It's funny because people ask us like, why do we do this? And it's because we really enjoy it.
Yeah.
We enjoy pushing ourselves. We enjoy doing the hard things. We enjoy doing it with our friends who also enjoy it. And I will say that's a big driver of that too, of like find a community of the people who will push you to be better. And I think that we have that, which has been awesome.
Yeah.
And I think, doing hard things is good for you. And like we had said, not just from a scientific reason, but also just to, push yourself and see yourself become a better version of yourself. And we hope that this episode will just challenge you to try things, try hard things in your everyday life, even if it means just starting small, like you said, making your bed.
Or reading a book or drinking more water. Like the little things that you genuinely don't want to do, building habits and starting off small can lead you a long way. And you'll just feel more productive during your day. You're going to feel proud of yourself. You're just going to be inspired to want to continue to do harder things, which I think is really cool.
Exactly. And I promise that you can push yourself. You can push your mind, your body further than what you think. So before you completely rule something out, just give it a try, push through it, and you will see great results.
100%. We fully believe in you. Whatever hard thing you decide to do or multiple hard things you decide to do, you can do it. Justus has done insane things. I've done insane things, and we're still here and we're still thriving. So we believe in you guys, and you can do this.
Yep. We will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.